Hey guys, Micra from blackbearcustomkydex. I've got a video for you today on a couple of sheaths for a Tops SXB. So this thing is a beast. If you guys aren't even familiar with it, you need to get familiar with it because it is a really cool knife. And anyway, I'm excited to work on another one. It seems like every time I get an SXB project, they come in pairs. So I don't know what it is, but here's another pair for you. So anyway, this first one is going to William. Sorry dude, I can't remember where you're from. I gotta look at the notes before I ship it, obviously. But he asked for just a basic sheath with black and gray tip, gray accent plate. It is going to be on a leather dangler. I just haven't actually attached the dangler yet. But I wanted to record this video real quick so that I could do a few danglers at the same time later. So anyway, there will be a dangler on it. I'll probably stamp his initials as well as my logo into it, but the sheath is going to be pretty basic, just like that. So dangling on the right side, and let's check out the fit of the knife in here. So you can see it's got a nice smooth channel to go through. There's no snagging, no hanging up. And then the click, got a nice good click going in. There's no rattle, no play. Knife's not coming out of there, and you can get a good one-handed draw on it. The thumb ramp on this is basically just a little tunnel, the same way that Tops does a lot of their thumb ramps. And the reason I had to do it like that is because of this flared out handguard here on top. So you absolutely have to have something there. You know, it's possible to create some kind of a true curved up thumb ramp the same way you see with other knives, but it would look really funky being up so high. It probably wouldn't be that comfortable. And with this, you get just that kind of natural position that you're looking for on the hand. So what I would recommend, if you feel like it's uncomfortable on the very tip of your thumb, is to just put your grip a little bit higher and use the back of that knuckle right there. And it shouldn't be too bad between the weight of the sheath and the position you got it there, and it should come off pretty easy like that. So, alright, so that's sheath number one. Now sheath number two I am really excited about. A lot of you guys have seen the Instagram post already, I think. It's kind of blowing up right now, so that's exciting. Sorry, I got something under my feet. But basically, Jason up in Brewer, Maine sent me his SXB, and he sent me a picture of some Pinterest post of a leather sheath that puts a large Bowie knife right here, and it had some kind of like snap to hold the sheath upright, and it looked like a pivot. So you kind of pivot it downward and bust through that snap, and then you can draw it from here. So you cross draw it, and it's all hooked up to like a shoulder harness that has a little belt anchor on it and all that. So I kind of toyed around with the design and made 3 or 4 different harness configurations before I kind of settled on this one. So this is a really cool sheath concept. I think will work really well with any medium to large knives. I mean, it'll definitely work with a small knife too, but probably more ideal for something a little bigger. And yeah, let me just show you how this thing works. So there is a harness system. I built it slightly different from the one that was in the video, or the picture that he sent me. This doesn't actually connect to the belt, and the reason why is because I know he's going to be using it outside, I mean obviously outside, but he's going to be using it for some hunting and whatnot. And in Maine we get a lot of snow, it's very cold, so I know he's going to be wearing a heavy coat at some point, and I didn't want to have a situation where the sheath was dependent on being able to get down to the belt, you know, being able to clip onto the belt, just in case he's wearing a jacket that's obscuring it. So that would be a big problem. You'd have to have your winter jacket bunched up and the strap going over and under, and it just seemed like a big hassle. So what I did here was I just created this shoulder loop, obviously, and then you're going to have a chest strap and a belly strap. So let's just got to reach around and pull those free. So all right, let's clip in the chest, and then the belly strap is actually, it's got the male and female clips on it, So what you want to do is reach it around and just pass it through the lower D-ring here. And that's it. So obviously, you know, the first time you wear this thing, you're going to have to adjust it to whatever size you want. And I left a lot of extra strapping on here so that you can change everything from the width of the chest, you know, each of these straps, even though they're actually part of the same piece of strapping, you can actually adjust the width of it all, or how big the harness gets. And then you can also adjust the ride height. Based on just tightening and stuff, you can kind of tweak the angle here a little bit, see what's comfortable for you. But that's pretty much it. So what I would recommend is put on your heaviest winter gear, whatever the largest expansion of this harness is going to be, and see where that's at. Then maybe mark it off and trim your excess, double the ends over, and you can either duct tape or staple them or something. But I didn't want to do any of the finishing of the ends yet, just because I really didn't know how much excess there would be for him. So I hopefully put enough on there to play with, and yeah. So alright, here we go. Let's take a look at the sheath itself. This thing is on a pivot system, so when you need your knife, you're just going to break it free, break it downward right there. Let's check this out. Same as the other one, you got a nice smooth open channel to get that knife through. There's no snagging, no hanging up, which I'm just going to say a little side thing here. I don't know if it's common for custom Kydex guys when they make a sheath for the SXB to, you know, fail to get a smooth draw on it. It's not the easiest knife to get to draw smoothly, so, you know, I understand, I get it. But the knife, I won't say who made it, but the sheath that he shipped this thing to me in was really bad. I mean, it was like, it's difficult to draw it out because the blade is just dragging the entire way through the section right here that's just not wide enough. So, you know, if you form right around this knife and then treat it as if it's ready to draw, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. It's just not going to be a good situation. So, anyway, not a problem with this sheath. You get a really smooth draw, good click going in. And so obviously you have it down here on this pivot. You can see that I've carved out this little U shape here to allow for when the knife tilts. It lets the spine of the knife go up and stops at around a 90-degree angle, thereabouts. This whole plate piece is one piece. Well, actually it's two layers, but it's a one-piece plate. And this has all the hookups for your carry harness, as well as the pivot point right here, which is just a Chicago screw. Speaking of all the Chicago screws on here, real quick, all of your harnesses and the pivot point obviously are done through just one screw, and that is with the idea of letting your pieces pivot so that you don't have some fixed position thing that's angled up this way, but your strap has to go that way, because everybody's body's a little different. So I'm not a tailor, I'm not good at that kind of thing. And I didn't want to set this up perfect for me and have it not be adaptable to him when he gets it. So, so Jason, what I would recommend is grab yourself some blue Loctite and figure out where, you know, maybe even loosen the screws up slightly so that you have like a freer range of motion on this. It's just you can feel there's resistance when you move them now. They'll pretty much stay put where they're at, but maybe loosen them a tiny bit and get some blue Loctite in there so that these things can move a bit, and you don't have to worry about them ever twisting out. Because right now they will eventually twist out if you use the harness a lot. Just those little movements will start unscrewing these Chicago screws. I didn't put any blue Loctite in there yet because I want it to be set up to your perfection, not mine. So, all right. Anyway, what we have here, this design, I chose this position because the one in the photo had the top of the knife a little bit below the armpit. That said, that wouldn't work well for this anyway for me. You can adjust it and make it ride a little lower, but what we have here is, you can see the tip of the knife is already down at my belt, so I didn't really want to go any lower with it. Not because it wouldn't be comfortable to draw or anything, but because, you know, if you are moving around a lot, this is already kind of going to hit your hip. It doesn't hurt, you know, it flexes, the sheath moves a little bit, so it doesn't feel like it's real cumbersome yet, but the lower you go, the more it's going to contact your thigh, the more pressure, the more of a point you're going to be driving in there. So I just wanted to leave it up a little higher, at least for me, for my build. So that's where it's at here. And the other issue with going a little lower, which is what I'd originally done to match sort of the photo that he had sent me, is that the skull crusher here, you have this really nice point on the pommel of the SXB. So this thing is aggressive, and I was finding it was driving up into my pec, my armpit, my shoulder. So if you raise it up a little bit, you don't ever have to deal with that. And then you also have the potential, you know, I'm sure somebody out there is thinking, well, what if you accidentally knock it free just reaching something with your left arm? I put enough retention, upright retention on this thing that I don't think you're going to have that issue. So I have to hit, basically. I have to throw a punch straight across my body to break that free. So, you know, if you're really bending over and tweak it, you can push that free, but, you know, I don't have any issue getting a full range of motion. I can scratch the right side of my back with my left arm, and I don't have any issue popping that free. So, how this stays upright, the sheath that he'd sent me a picture of had like a strap with a snap on it. I presume you either just unsnap it and then draw, or you just push it and it pops the snap open for you. And I was trying something like that, but it wasn't really working out. So I switched and just thought about it. And what I did was, you can see this little plate here, and this plate is part of the pivot system. So this one's riveted to the sheath, and this one is part of the carry/pivot system. So all you have here is this plate and this plate side by side coming in contact with each other. So it's a little bit, if you think about like plate tectonics, you have two plates colliding sideways, and this pressure just keeps the knife upright, keeps it in position. You put more pressure on it, more pressure, and you're going to eventually get a disc slip. So what you have is the riveted, or sorry, the sheath that's mounted to, the plate that's mounted to the sheath is always going to go down, obviously, and then the pivot system is going to go above it. So just real quick, I'll show you here. Right? So you can see this one's going to ride over it, and there is a screw here I put just to keep the layers together really well, and it's leaving a short, you know, kind of arc streak across the plate here. So unfortunately there is going to be a little bit of a scar on the face of this, but I don't think that was really avoidable, and I don't think it really looks that bad either. But so anyway, that's what you got. You can hear it break free, obviously, and you can hear it click back in, and it's a really comfortable system to carry. So very easy to use. One other thing, so I'm just trying to tuck this excess strap away. Obviously these dangling straps hopefully won't be there on the final setup, but I wanted to leave that there for him to mess with the harness. So as far as the draw, the style of draw, you do have options. I mean, if you think you can grab that sucker out of there and won't cut your face off, you're welcome to try it. What I would do is just kind of reach up with like a reverse grip, you know, just pulling the lever. I would break it downward, rotate my hand, and draw it out. That seems like the easiest way for me. And I'll tell you up front, if you're looking for a system with like a lightning fast deployment of your knife, so you can react in that like 0.002 seconds to your bear attack or whatever it is, this is probably not the system for you. You do have to kind of go through some steps to get the knife out. It's not cumbersome, it's not real time consuming, but you know, in a realistic emergency situation where you need your knife, I think you're going to be okay. You can, boom, there it is. I don't think you have any issues there. So for those of you who are the ultra tactical keyboard warriors out there and the what-ifers, and you're wondering what would you do in an emergency, I think that's it right there. I don't think you're going to have any issues. So that's what we got for you. So anyway, this sheath this is the first time I've ever done a harness setup like this, and I have another one coming down the pike soon that's going to be diagonal across your chest. So it'll be set up like this, and the sheath is going to have a bunch of stuff on it. So anyway, you draw it from your essentially from the center of the chest is where you'd be gripping the knife. It'll be a tops operator 7, so another big knife, and you draw it down that way. So it's a pretty cool setup. I'm excited for that one. Like I said, it's going to have a bunch of gear on it, but it'll be on the chest here, so I think there's that ability. Another thing I should probably say right up front is, for those of you out there, most of the time when I get an SXB order, there's attachments. There's like 5 or 6 attachments on it: ferro rod, sharpener, flashlight, compass, Altoids tin, extra paracord, whatever it is. But if you're going to order this kind of setup, it doesn't matter if it's SXB or other knife, but if you're going to order a pivot system from me, it might not necessarily be a good idea to add a bunch of attachments. And the reason why is, number one, it's on your side, so you got to think about the fact that your arm is going to be here. With something thin like a sheath, there's not a lot of contact. I truly feel very comfortable in this harness. It doesn't feel like it's in the way or inhibiting any of my natural movement. But the wider you make this sheath, the more likely it is that it will. And that's just something to think about. So maybe a ferro rod along the edge if that's something you want, or I could probably do like a compass down by the tip. But I wouldn't go crazy doing anything thick. And the other advantage to having this harness system is that you don't necessarily have to mount, if you're ordering a sheath from me, you don't have to mount the attachments directly to the sheath on a harness system. There's all this strapping and real estate. You can call this a belt, really. So if you wanted like something set up, a rig on the chest for all of your attachments on this chest strap right here, and then the knife on the pivot system, that might actually be a really cool, viable option. So just be thinking about that if you're interested in getting this kind of chest rig. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that's all I have for you. So, OD green multicam, in case you were wondering, and black nylon for the harness strap. I used plastic D-rings. These things are really rugged. Not as rugged as metal, obviously, but I wanted to use the plastic because I don't know, what kind of weather he's going to be wearing it in, as far as having something really cold pressing up against him, or just the noise it'll be making if he's carrying it around. So I wanted it to be a quieter system that would maybe be a little more comfortable in colder weather, or hot weather for that matter. You don't want burning hot metal attachments there. So, all right. Anyway, if you guys like these sheets, if you like this video, ask you to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Getting close to 1,000 subscribers. There's going to be a giveaway soon, so let all your friends know. Have them come over and click that subscribe button, and definitely comment down below. Let me know what you think of a harness system, wearing it in this style. I don't know if this has a name or not. A buddy of mine on my Instagram page told me to call it the Halloweener or something like that, the Halloween setup. So I'm not sure about that, but anyway, if you guys like this and happen to know if there is a specific name for this style of carry, let me know. I would love to call it by its correct name. Other than that, I'm going to just call it the shouldered pivot sheath, I guess. So, all right, guys, like, share, comment, subscribe. Thanks for dealing with all my rambling as usual, and stick around for the next one. God bless.